Nuclei overload. Does it work? What is up, Fit fam? Today's topic is nuclei overload and if it does work. For today's topic, I found 4 YouTubers and researched their opinion, and I'm going to very quickly give you the opinion of the 4 YouTubers first and then give you mine. So, without further ado, let's get cracking. Okay, the first YouTuber is a YouTuber I love watching, is Doucette. And he basically said that nuclei overloading is a bunch of BS. Basically, he told the audience that nuclei overloading is just the overtraining of a muscle. And he said that if you are obtaining gains from your nuclei overloading program, by the way, by nuclei overloading, we're meaning that you do, for example, 100 repetitions of a specific muscle group every day for a month, and then you rest for 1 or 2 weeks. That growth in that specific occasion can come from 2 factors. First being that basically if you are overtraining any part of your body, you will experience swelling. And because the swelling of the muscle occurs, it will mean that your muscle appears to be bigger, at least it is more swollen, so it will be bigger if you measure it. The second reason being that most of the people don't put enough intensity on their workouts. Meaning what? Meaning that if they do, for example, bicep curls, and they usually leave 10 reps in the tank, if they do more volume, of course they will experience better results because they weren't working out hard enough anyway in the first place to experience considerable muscle growth. Now, I also went over to Atleast X channel to see his opinion on the subject. Jeff Cavaliere didn't have a video on nuclei overload, okay, but he did have a video on overtraining. Let's be real, when you're talking about nuclei overloading, you're really just talking about overtraining a certain part of your body. Jeff Cavaliere on his video on overtraining said basically that overtraining is bad as it will harm you in the long run. You can't train properly if you overtrain the muscle, and that basically you can go hard or you can go long at the gym. You can't do both. You can't have an high intensity and high duration workout. You can bet on duration and have a lot of volume, much in a similar, this is a similar aspect to nuclei overload because you need to do a lot of volume in order for this theory to work. Or you can go hard and just have a lot of intensity while you're doing your workouts in the gym. So from Greg, you can really see that he is against the idea of nuclei overload. Jeff Cavaliere didn't really make his opinion clear, or even if he knows the concept, so you can really just go on his opinion of overtraining, which isn't really comparable, so you can count Jeff Cavaliere out of this discussion. Now, I also went and saw Scott Herman's opinion on the subject. He actually tried this training method, the nuclei overload, on his body. Okay, it's not only theory. He tried it for 30 days and then deloaded, rested for 1 to 2 weeks and made a video on his experience with the nuclei overload program. Basically, the nuclei overload he did was on his biceps, and his biceps did grow. For what he showed, it grew 1/4 inch. I gotta say, I was really impressed because Scott isn't a beginner at all. He's pretty advanced, so for him to make gains at this stage in his career, it got me thinking, okay, this might actually be working. But there's a little thing that he also mentioned on his video. He's a detrained individual, meaning that he was once bigger and had more muscle than he has now. So it can really just be a case of memory, muscle memory working, and not really the muscle the nuclei overloads working. So he himself said he can't really be sure on that front. But he was very optimistic and he said he wanted to continue trying this for other body parts. So I would say that for Scott Herman is in favor of the nuclei overload theory. Now the fourth and last YouTuber that I'm going to talk about is Team 3D Alpha. And Team 3D Alpha is actually the guy, the channel that came up with this idea of nuclei overload before it was proven by any kind of scientific studies. And on this video, of course, he approves his own theory, but in this video he tries to explain that nuclei overload is when you overload a muscle, you overtrain a muscle for 30 days, 1 month, and then you deload, you rest for at least 1 to 2 weeks. And he even said that you won't notice any growth when you finish this nuclei overload, but that the growth will come later when you resume your normal growth, your normal workouts. Meaning that you do a nuclei overload not for growth, but for the increase in nuclei in your muscle. He, like Herman, went on and did a couple of shows of cases he saw occurring naturally as his friends, workers around him, and other athletes, etc. And he referenced 2 studies. The first one was a meta-analysis, so it is pretty legit. And it talked about the relation of nuclei in the muscle and the muscle growth. Basically establishing a correlation between higher nuclei in the muscle and the higher growth of the muscle. And the second study he whipped out was basically a study where they almost word for words actually tried his training method, the nuclei overload. They got some people to overwork a part of their bodies for 14 days and rest and then work out normally again, and they found that there was increases in nuclei in the muscle and mTOR and all that good stuff. Basically meaning that Team 3D Alpha used this video in order to basically prove that his theory was correct. So, when it comes to the 4 YouTubers I talked about, Greg Doucette is against the idea, thinks it's stupid. Jeff Cavaliere doesn't really have an opinion, didn't make a video on the subject, only on the subject of overtraining, which isn't exactly the same. Scott Herman seems to be pleased with the idea, so I would say he agrees with it. And Team 3D Alpha, as the founder of this theory, obviously thinks it's correct. So, my opinion on this subject, I'm going to be honest, my opinion is, I don't know. When I first saw the video on Greg's channel, I really thought, yeah, okay, this is stupid, overtraining doesn't bring you results. And since Greg is one of my favorite YouTubers, I really trust on what he says. But then I went on to see other versions of other people, and I started to get a little convinced by the idea that it might work. But I got to be honest, bringing a meta-analysis, sure it's good, but it doesn't prove the theory of the nuclei overload itself. It proves that the bigger nuclei concentration you have in the muscle, the more growth you can have. Not that nuclei overload can increase the nuclei on your muscle. And the single study he whipped out it really isn't enough. It needs more proof, you know. I don't know the circumstances of the study. I don't know who was studied, if it was advanced people, beginners, detrained individuals, how it was done, which body parts. I mean, his proof isn't conclusive. Sure, it is a step in the right track for him to prove his theory that he observed along the years. But for me, I just don't know. I would need more evidence. And on what I'm continuing to do, or if I will try the nuclei overload, I'm going to be totally honest. As of now, no, I won't really. I mean, if nuclei overload was something that really worked, at least that people really know worked, and there were studies on it, Mr. Olympias would be doing it, professional bodybuilders would be doing it. They want bigger muscles, they want to be bigger. So if it worked, it would be being done right now. You understand? So as of now, I won't say that I disagree or agree, because I think there is just no sufficient info. But having that said, will I actually try it? No, I don't think there is enough evidence for me to go out of my way, and there are better training protocols currently available to me that I know will work on my goals. So yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe, leave a like and comment, and I will see you in the next video. See you guys.